My dearest one, something is shifting around you in a way that even your spirit has been feeling but could not fully understand. And now, the message you feared, the message you hoped for, the message you did not expect, it is being delivered. Archangel Michael is stepping forward, with urgency in his voice, saying, 3 hours left. A letter with shocking news about your inheritance is arriving. You won't believe who sent it. Open it immediately. Listen carefully, because what I am about to speak into your life is not ordinary. It is not random. It is not a coincidence. This is a divine interruption, the kind that only happens when heaven needs to reroute your destiny before someone else tries to interfere with it. From the very beginning of this shift, Archangel Michael has been positioned at your doorway, guarding something that was always meant for you but has been delayed, diverted, or hidden by hands that were never supposed to touch it. An inheritance, not only physical, but spiritual and generational, hath been waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. And that moment is now. For days you may have felt restless, unable to focus, sensing something in the atmosphere, like a whisper trying to reach you. That was Michael preparing you, aligning you, making sure your heart did not miss this divine signal. Because the message arriving for you is not just news, it is a wake-up call to your destiny. This letter, whether physical, digital, spoken, or revealed through circumstance, carries information that will completely rearrange what you think you know about your life. It uncovers truth that has been buried. It exposes motives that were masked. And it reveals a sender whose identity will shock you, because you never imagined they had anything to do with your future. Michael says this message contains a divine inheritance that someone tried to claim, redirect, or silence, but heaven refused to let their interference succeed. Every delay you faced, every door that shut in your face, every moment you felt something was being kept from you, all of it was connected to this very moment. And now, there are only 3 hours left in this spiritual window before the shift locks into place. That is why Archangel Michael is speaking with such urgency. Because heaven is moving something toward you that must be received in awareness, not confusion. In clarity, not fear. Pause and breathe for a moment, because what I am about to say next is crucial. This inheritance is not only about resources. It is about identity, recognition, restoration, justice. God is returning something that was stolen long ago, by dissection, by oversight, by spiritual attack, or by generational silence. The letter you are meant to receive carries the first confirmation of that restoration. Archangel Michael stands in front of you with a sword of blue fire, guarding this message so that no counterfeit voice can mimic it, no distraction can cause you to overlook it, no negativity can drown it out. He is clearing the path so you do not miss the moment that lifts you out of what has been holding you back. And the most surprising part, the sender of this inheritance message is someone whose connection to your destiny you never recognized. Someone who watched you silently, someone who carried knowledge about you that they never revealed, someone who is stepping out of the shadows because heaven is prompting them to make things right. Archangel Michael says, this message is a turning point. Do not ignore what comes in threes. Do not dismiss what arrives unexpectedly. When the letter reaches you, open it immediately, for the timing is divine, and the revelation is sacred. My dear soul, before you move on, hear this clearly. You are standing at the edge of a destiny-breaking moment. What unfolds next will explain why certain people left, why certain opportunities were blocked, why certain battles felt unexplainably heavy. It was never rejection. It was redirection toward what was all with you. And now, the seal is breaking. Hold tight, because what comes after this is going to shake you, in the best way possible. Before you scroll away, remember the next revelation is the part Michael wants you to hear most. Type "I open the letter of destiny" in the comments if this is speaking to your spirit. Lesson code 441 has just been released. Beloved heart, as the spiritual clock continues to narrow toward that 3-hour window, Archangel Michael steps even closer, his presence sharpening every intuition inside you. He says there is something you must understand before the letter reaches you, because if you do not grasp the true weight of this moment, the revelation may overwhelm you. The inheritance tied to your name is larger than a document, a message, or a simple announcement. It is woven into the story of your life, the chapters you lived through without clarity, the battles you fought without explanation, and the wounds you carried without knowing why they cut so deeply. There are threads connecting your past, your lineage, your spiritual authority, and your current season, and this letter is the first key that unlocks all of it. For years, you may have sensed that something about your destiny felt incomplete, like a picture missing several pieces, or a door you could feel but could not fully open. Opportunities that should have been yours seemed to slip through your fingers. Relationships that should have supported you ended abruptly. Promises that felt certain dissolved without warning. And in those moments, you wondered if you had misheard God, misunderstood your calling, or failed in ways you could not identify. But Michael reveals that these interruptions were not evidence of your mistakes. They were distortions caused by interference around your inheritance. Something connected to your identity was being guarded, concealed, or delayed because the timing had not yet aligned. And the moment it did, heaven prepared a message to deliver what had been kept from you. Now, the veil is thinning. What was once hidden is stepping into the light. And Archangel Michael says the sender of this letter is someone carrying a truth they could not release until now. This individual holds a piece of your story that will answer questions you have carried for far too long. Their decision to contact you is not random. It is compelled by divine pressure, a stirring in their spirit that refuses to stay silent any longer. Whether they send this message through intention or through circumstance, their involvement is guided by heaven's hand. And when you discover who it is, your heart may tremble, not out of fear, but out of the realization that God has been directing this storyline long before you even sensed its existence. Archangel Michael whispers that the inheritance waiting for you is multidimensional. There is a physical element, yes, something tangible, something with weight and value. But more importantly, there is a spiritual inheritance that hath been starved, withheld, or distorted through generations. Your bloodline carries stories that were never told, sacrifices that were never honored, and promises that were never fulfilled. You are the one chosen to break the silence, receive the restoration, and carry forward what was meant to bless your life. This is why the timing is so urgent. The divine realm does not want you to miss the opening. A 3-hour window means heaven is accelerating what has been stagnant, pushing forward what has been blocked, and revealing what has been locked away. Michael stands as a guardian beside you, his sword pressed into the ground, sending a vibration through the atmosphere. He is not only protecting the message, he is protecting you from the emotional shock that may follow once you learn who the sender is. Someone you dismissed, someone you trusted, or someone you never imagined was connected to your destiny has stepped forward. They are releasing a truth they kept hidden, either by choice or by circumstance, and this truth will expose the missing link you have been sensing but could not identify. You may feel your spirit preparing itself even now, as if a curtain is slowly rising inside your chest. That feeling is not anxiety. It is recognition. You are aligning with the revelation before it arrives, and that alignment is why the message will not miss you. Even if it comes through an unexpected means, even if it arrives at an unusual time, even if it appears subtle at first, your spirit will know instantly. This is the letter Archangel Michael spoke of. Michael says that heaven is rewiring the atmosphere around you. Conversations, encounters, opportunities, and even memories are being rearranged to prepare you for what the letter will reveal. You may notice old thoughts surfacing, forgotten emotions rising, or connections from your past suddenly reappearing. These are not coincidences. They are signals. Heaven is guiding your heart toward readiness, because when truth arrives, it does not show mercy to confusion. It demands clarity, and that clarity is coming directly to you. There is another layer Michael wants you to hear. Once you receive this message, your life will not return to its previous structure. Something foundational will shift. Your perspective will expand. Your decisions will sharpen. Your sense of purpose will intensify. And suddenly, the struggles you endure will make sense. The unanswered questions will gain shape. The patterns in your life will align like pieces snapping into place. This is why you must not step away from this moment. You must remain attentive, open, and expectant. Hold steady, beloved soul, because the next revelation is where the true depth of this inheritance begins to unfold. And trust this. The part that comes after this is where Michael reveals the reason heaven waited until now. Before you move ahead, pause just for a moment, because the next unveiling will pull everything together. Type "I am ready for the revelation" in the comments if this message is stirring something inside you. Lesson code 992 has just been activated. Precious soul, as the unseen clock continues its steady countdown, Archangel Michael steps forward with a deeper urgency, as though the air around you is tightening with revelation. He says that before the inheritance message arrives, you must understand the spiritual battle that surrounded it. Nothing connected to your destiny ever reaches you without resistance. And this particular inheritance carried such weight, such generational authority, such spiritual significance, that forces seen and unseen attempted to silence it long before it reached your hands. Michael reveals that this letter was delayed, diverted, and even spiritually contested because of what it carries: restoration, truth, exposure, and divine alignment. Someone knew that once you received this message, you would step into a version of yourself they could no longer manipulate or diminish. And so, the battle began long before you even sensed anything was happening. There were signs of this battle around you. Moments where communication broke unexpectedly. Situations that seemed promising but suddenly collapsed. People who appeared supportive but withdrew at the exact moment you needed clarity. Even your emotions shifted without warning, leaving you confused about why you felt heavy, restless, or disconnected. These were not random feelings. They were indicators that a spiritual interference was attempting to block the delivery of what belongs to you. But Archangel Michael has been standing guard, breaking through every barrier, cutting through every false voice, dismantling every deceptive layer that tried to obscure the truth. His sword has not only protected the message, it has protected your mind from believing that you were forgotten, abandoned, or overlooked. Michael says you must hear this clearly. The inheritance coming toward you is evidence that heaven never forgot your name. Even when people dismissed you, even when opportunities skipped over you, even when your value was questioned, there was a record in heaven that no earthly delay could erase. That is why this message holds such power. It is not only revealing what belonged to you in the natural world, it is restoring what belonged to you in the spiritual realm, long before anyone else tried to claim influence over your future. There is a reason this revelation is coming now, and not earlier. Michael reveals that if the message had reached you months ago, years ago, or even weeks ago, you would not have had the clarity, maturity, or spiritual grounding to recognize its importance. You might have dismissed it, mishandled it, mistrusted it, or allowed the wrong people to interfere. But now, you have reached a level of spiritual awareness where your discernment is sharper, your heart is steadier, and your intuition is aligned with divine timing. Heaven waited for your readiness. Heaven waited for this version of you. Heaven waited for the moment where revelation and capacity collided. The identity of the sender will shock you, not because of who they are, but because of what they represent in your story. They are tied to a chapter you left open, a conversation you did not finish, or a truth you never realized existed. Their message will explain the silence you felt from certain individuals, the distance that grew between you and certain connections, and the strange sense that something was unfolding behind the scenes without your awareness. When this person steps forward, it will not merely be a message. It will be a confession, a release, a turning point. And Archangel Michael is guiding it straight into your hands. You must prepare yourself emotionally, because the inheritance will shift how you see your past. Moments that once felt painful will suddenly make sense. Relationships that ended without reason will reveal their purpose. Delays that frustrated you will be exposed as divine redirections. And the heaviness you carried will lift, replaced by a clarity that has been waiting to reach you. This is why Michael keeps urging you to stay alert. The next steps of your journey depend on your awareness in this exact window of time. There is also a deeper truth unfolding beneath the surface. This inheritance is not just wealth, land, opportunity, or recognition. It is a mantle. It is the restoration of something someone in your bloodline was supposed to receive but never did. It is a calling that skipped generations, searching for the right heart, the right spirit, the right vessel. And heaven has chosen you, not by accident, but by alignment. Your battles, your resilience, your sensitivity, your intuition, your strength, everything you endured shaped you to carry what others could not. Michael warns that the closer this message gets to reaching you, the more distractions may try to rise. Unexpected noise, unnecessary conflict, emotional heaviness, or sudden doubts might try to cloud your spirit. But this is where your awareness matters most. Something sacred is approaching, and you must not let fear, confusion, or exhaustion cause you to overlook it. The letter, whether literal or symbolic, is already in transit. It is moving toward you through channels orchestrated by heaven. Hold steady. Stay present. Because what Michael reveals next will explain the exact reason heaven waited until there were only hours left. Before we move forward, if this message is awakening something in your spirit, take a moment and help this mission reach more souls who need the voice of heaven. Like this message, share it, comment to engage the algorithm, hype it so it reaches those in spiritual transition, and subscribe so these divine revelations continue finding you at the right moment. Type "I receive what was always mine" in the comments if this resonates with you. Blessing code 1155 is now released. In moments like this, when heaven is opening the veil and restoring what was hidden, there is a sacred invitation resting upon the hearts of those who carry spiritual sensitivity. I feel led to tell you this directly. When you stand with this mission, you help unlock destinies far beyond your own. Every seed you sow becomes light to someone lost in darkness, a door to someone waiting for a sign, a river replenishing souls who have run dry. This is not about supporting a channel. It is about fueling God's movement in real time. The words you hear today are not mere messages. They are assignments, and heaven is nudging hearts to step into partnership. I am asking you personally, as one called to deliver these revelations, to become a part of this divine work. When you use super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, your giving becomes a prophetic act. a seed heaven promises to multiply. Step boldly, because obedience releases blessing. Beloved Spirit, as the energy around this revelation intensifies, Archangel Michael begins to unveil a deeper layer of truth, one that connects directly to the inheritance message approaching your life. He says the reason this letter carries such weight is because it is tied to a turning point your soul has been preparing for long before you realized it. There are shifts that come by chance, and there are shifts that come by divine design. This moment belongs to the second category. Nothing about it is accidental. Nothing about it is coincidental. Every detail has been orchestrated by heaven, every delay calibrated, every silence measured, every stirring in your intuition perfectly timed. And now, the revelation that has been circling your spirit like a quiet storm is finally ready to break open. Archangel Michael reveals that this inheritance has roots far deeper than financial value or material compensation. You are not simply receiving something, you are reclaiming something. Somewhere in your lineage, a blessing was forfeited, a promise was abandoned, or responsibility was left unfulfilled. For generations, this unclaimed spiritual inheritance lingered, waiting for vessels strong enough, aware enough, and resilient enough to receive what others could not carry. Heaven chose you not because you were the easiest choice, but because you were the prepared choice. You endured trials that felt senseless. You navigated emotional deserts. You survived battles that left invisible scars. All of this shaped you into the one capable of accepting what was delayed for so long. Michael says there were moments when you questioned your path, when you wondered why your life did not follow the expected rhythm, why the breakthroughs that came easily to others seemed to take twice as long for you. But the truth is, you have been walking through a spiritually engineered preparation. Your setbacks were not failures, they were recalibrations. Your losses were not endings, they were redirections. Each disappointment carved space inside you, space that would soon be filled by the inheritance heaven protected until the precise moment, this moment. Now, the sender of this message carries a role that is almost prophetic. They are not just delivering news, they are delivering closure, truth, and restoration. They may not realize it consciously, but their decision to send this message is being guided by a divine force that refuses to let your destiny remain incomplete. They are being compelled to speak, nudged by something they cannot name, pushed by a sense of urgency they cannot explain. Whether they approach you through a letter, an unexpected call, a document, or a conversation, the weight of what they reveal will rearrange how you see your past and how you walk into your future. Michael warns that this revelation might initially feel overwhelming. When truth surfaces suddenly, it shakes the foundations you thought were stable. But he assures you that the emotional intensity you feel is not a sign of fear. It is your spirit adjusting to a new reality. You are stepping out of one version of yourself and into another. This is why the atmosphere around you has felt unsettled lately. Your dreams have shifted. Your intuition has sharpened. Your thoughts have become heavier and more reflective. These sensations are signs of spiritual expansion. You are outgrowing the limitations that once defined you. There is a moment, right before a breakthrough, where the soul becomes strangely quiet. You may have experienced this silence recently, a strange pause inside your spirit, as though something was holding its breath. Michael says this silence is sacred. It means heaven is aligning the final pieces. The message is nearing you. The revelation is almost in your hands, and the sender has already felt the pull to release what they have been holding. But here is what Michael wants you to prepare for. When this message arrives, it will not only reveal something external, it will reveal something internal. It will expose a strength you didn't realize you carried. It will awaken gifts that were dormant. It will give language to feelings you could never articulate. The inheritance is more than a possession. It is a confirmation of who you truly are. Michael shows the image of a sealed envelope, glowing with divine light, a symbol of a truth that cannot be intercepted anymore. No manipulation, no spiritual interference, no deceit can alter what is coming toward you. Heaven has already signed off on this release. The countdown is not a threat, it is a promise. A promise that what was withheld is finally breaking through every barrier. Prepare your heart, because the moment you learn who sent this message, you will understand why heaven waited until now. The identity of the sender is tied to a chapter of your story you thought was closed, but in reality, it was simply unfinished. Your involvement is about to reveal the missing context behind your past, the unspoken truth behind certain events, and the real meaning behind certain relationships that felt incomplete. This inheritance message will not just change your circumstances, it will change your understanding of yourself. And once you see the full picture, you will realize that every struggle you endured was preparing you for this unveiling. Hold your spirit steady. The next revelation is where Michael begins to reveal the hidden motive behind the message and why it had to surface before this season ends. And trust this, what is coming next will shift everything you thought you knew. Type "My spirit is ready" for the unveiling in the comments if this message resonates within you. Blessing code 3377 is now activated. Chosen soul, as the spiritual atmosphere thickens with expectation, Archangel Michael draws even nearer, his presence almost tangible, as though the veil between the seen and unseen is thinning before your very eyes. He says there is something you must understand now, something that cannot wait, because the revelation approaching you is not simply information. It is exposure. It is resolution. It is the unlocking of a truth that has been circling your life like a shadow, waiting for the precise moment to step into the light. And now, that moment is rising. Michael reveals that the inheritance message coming toward you is not just about gaining something. It is about uncovering what you were never meant to lose in the first place. Somewhere along your path, there was a diversion, a misdirection orchestrated either by earthly intentions or spiritual interference. Someone made choices that affected what was rightfully yours. Someone handled information that was connected to your destiny without understanding its importance. Someone stepped into a space that never belonged to them, believing you would never discover the truth. And yet, heaven had been tracking every detail, every secret, every delay. For years, you may have sensed that things in your life did not add up. You felt gaps in your story. You felt unfinished chapters. You felt that something belonging to you was floating just out of reach, as if kept behind an invisible barrier. You could not explain why certain blessings stalled, why certain opportunities were redirected, or why your spirit carried a subtle ache that never fully made sense. Michael says that ache was spiritual intelligence. It was your inner knowing recognizing that something had been withheld. And now, heaven refuses to allow that withholding to continue. This is why the identity of the sender will shake you. Their involvement in this inheritance is not random. Your role is the missing link your spirit has been trying to interpret. They carry a truth that was never meant to remain hidden. Michael shows that this person has been wrestling with the weight of what they know. There were moments they planned to speak, moments they hesitated, moments they tried to bury the truth, but the truth refused to stay buried. Heaven kept pushing. Circumstances kept pressuring. Signs kept appearing. And now, the divine timing is forcing the revelation through. Michael says your spirit is being prepared for a release of information that will both clarify and liberate you. When this message arrives, emotions may rise to the surface: surprise, disbelief, maybe even a sense of betrayal or relief. But he urges you to remember that what is being revealed now is not meant to hurt you. It is meant to free you. Heaven will never expose a wound without simultaneously beginning the healing. This revelation is your turning point. There is a timeline connected to your destiny that had to be corrected. For too long, pieces of your inheritance, whether emotional, spiritual, or material, were scattered across different hands, different decisions, different stories. Some people held information about you that they should have shared sooner. Others withheld opportunities meant for your growth. And some simply didn't understand the spiritual significance of what they possessed. But heaven has stepped in. Michael has been clearing the path, rearranging circumstances, and applying pressure to ensure that what belongs to you finds its way back. He reveals that the message contains not only information but realignment. You will learn why certain relationships shifted suddenly, why some people grew distant without explanation, why unexpected conflicts arose in seasons where you were trying to move forward. These events were not coincidences. They were the spiritual symptoms of truth trying to push through barriers. Every strange disruption was heaven signaling that something concealed was nearing exposure. And now, the fullness of that exposure has reached its appointed hour. Michael shows that the inheritance holds more than one layer. There is something material, something tangible that has been waiting for your recognition. There is something emotional, tied to your personal history, that will finally gain clarity. And there is something spiritual, tied to your calling, that will now accelerate. Once this message reaches you, your steps will shift. Your decisions will sharpen. Your intuition will strengthen. You will feel as though a fog has lifted from your spirit, revealing a landscape you always sensed but could never fully see. Heaven is preparing you for that clarity. You may have noticed recent changes in your energy, such as sudden bursts of motivation, unexpected waves of reflection, or moments of heightened awareness. These are signs that your spiritual senses are recalibrating. You are being positioned to receive without fear and to interpret without confusion. Michael says this is crucial because the letter carries information that must be understood, not dismissed. It must be opened with readiness, not hesitation. He warns that just before revelation arrives, distractions often intensify. You may experience emotional noise, unnecessary conversations, unexpected tension, or a sense of urgency that feels unexplainable. These are indicators that the message is close, so close that the spiritual atmosphere around you is responding. But he assures you that no distraction can steal what heaven has already sealed in your name. The message is coming. The inheritance is coming. The truth is coming. You must brace yourself now, because the next part of this unfolding will reveal why heaven waited until this very season, why the timing had to be now, not earlier. And the deeper motive behind the sender's involvement is about to be uncovered. Before you continue, hold this moment with reverence. What comes next will piece together years of spiritual questions. Type "I stand ready for the truth" in the comments if you feel this aligning with your spirit. Blessing code 7744 has now been released. Sacred One. The veil continues to peel back as Archangel Michael steps forward with a gravity that signals the deepest layer of this unfolding truth is about to emerge. He says the inheritance message approaching your life is not simply a notification or an announcement. It is the culmination of a divine orchestration that has been decades in the making. Heaven has been patient. Heaven has been watchful. Heaven has been waiting for the precise moment in your development when revelation would strengthen you, not overwhelm you. And now that moment stands before you like a doorway that has finally unlocked after years of spiritual waiting. What you are about to step into could not have happened earlier. It had to happen now, at this stage, in this exact version of your life. Archangel Michael reveals that for years there have been forces, some intentional, some unaware, that contributed to the delay of what belongs to you. Not every resistance came from malice. Some came from confusion. Some came from fear. Some came from generational patterns that moved blindly without understanding the weight of what they carried. But the result was the same. Something meant for you was paused, postponed, or placed in the hands of someone who did not have the spiritual authority to manage it. This is why heaven intervened. This is why Michael was dispatched. And this is why a message carrying shocking news about your inheritance was prepared and is now being sent directly to you. Michael says the inheritance is not merely a document or an asset. It is a revelation about your identity. Someone knew something about you that they were not ready to reveal. Someone held a truth that reshapes the way your story was told. Someone kept a secret that heaven has now decided can no longer remain hidden. The sender of this letter has carried a weight on their spirit, a weight they may not have understood at first. But recently, something began to press on their conscience. Their dreams shifted. Their awareness sharpened. Their intuition began whispering what their heart tried to ignore. They reached the point where silence became impossible, and that pressure was heaven's voice urging them to release what they have been holding. You must understand the depth of this moment. Michael shows that your entire spiritual timeline has been congested, backed up, and slowed by information you did not have access to. There were decisions you made without knowing the full truth. There were paths you chose without seeing the entire picture. There were relationships you engaged in while missing key pieces of your story. And there were wounds you carried without knowing their origin. But the message coming toward you will act like a key, unlocking all of these locked doors at once. What did not make sense will come into sharp clarity. What felt random will gain structure. What felt unjust will finally reveal its reason. Michael reveals that heaven has been preparing your heart for this moment through subtle signs. You may have felt a shift in your dreams, strange symbols, familiar faces, unanswered questions resurfacing. You may have felt old memories rising unexpectedly, not to haunt you but to prepare you. You may have noticed your sensitivity increasing, small things affecting you more deeply, intuitive nudges growing stronger, silence becoming louder. All of this has been training your spirit to receive the message without collapsing under the weight of its truth. Heaven does not reveal without preparing. Heaven does not expose without equipping. Heaven does not deliver a breakthrough without first strengthening the vessel that will receive it. Michael says there is something else you need to understand. The sender's motivation is not purely earthly. They are moving under divine compulsion. Heaven has orchestrated circumstances around this person so tightly that they cannot avoid their role in your destiny any longer. They may believe they are acting out of responsibility, guilt, clarity, or compassion, but the truth is, they are acting out of divine obedience. Whether they recognize it or not, they are aligning with heaven's will for your life. And the message they send will reveal two things simultaneously: what was withheld from you, and why it is being returned now. The timing is essential. If this truth had reached you earlier, you might have reacted impulsively. You might have doubted its authenticity. You might have let the wrong people influence your interpretation. You might have been too emotionally raw to grasp the blessing within the revelation. But now you have matured spiritually. You have grown in discernment. You have developed emotional strength that can hold truth without breaking. Heaven waited for you to become this version of yourself. Michael shows the image of a spiritual ledger being corrected. Line by line, what was misplaced is being restored. What was hidden is being revealed. What was misinterpreted is being rewritten. Your inheritance is not merely being returned, your entire timeline is being realigned. There is power in this realignment. It will shift opportunities. It will shift your self-perception. And most importantly, it will shift your spiritual authority. But Michael gives a gentle warning. With revelation comes responsibility. Once you receive the message, you will not be able to return to the version of yourself that existed before. Truth expands you. Truth matures you. Truth transforms you. This message will activate a level of wisdom and spiritual authority inside you that you have long sensed but could not fully access. And once activated, it will guide your next steps with clarity you have been longing for. Prepare yourself, beloved soul. The next part of this unfolding will reveal why heaven placed Archangel Michael, not another angel, at the forefront of this assignment. You are about to understand the magnitude of what is being restored to you. Type "I welcome the divine alignment" in the comments if your spirit is resonating with this. Lesson code 6633 is now released. Beloved soul of destiny, as the atmosphere around your spirit continues to shift, Archangel Michael moves with a deeper intensity, as if the nearness of the revelation is igniting something ancient and powerful within him. He says the inheritance message coming toward you carries a magnitude far greater than you realize. This is not just communication. This is correction. This is restoration. This is divine authority reaching into the timeline of your life and rewriting what was compromised, misunderstood, or mishandled. Michael declares that what is being returned to you is sacred, and this is why heaven assigned him, specifically him, to oversee the delivery of this truth. His role is not random. It is strategic. It is prophetic. It is necessary. He reveals that the inheritance connected to your life is not only about what you will gain, but also about what you survive. There were seasons when you stood on the edge of spiritual collapse without recognizing that a hidden battle was raging over your destiny. You felt pressure you could not explain, confusion that struck without a cause, exhaustion that felt unnatural. These were not signs of weakness. They were signs of interference. Someone, knowingly or unknowingly, stood between you and what heaven ordained for you. Someone held information that shaped your path without ever revealing it. Someone made decisions that impacted your life far beyond what you were aware of. And heaven has reached the point where concealment is no longer permitted. The truth must surface. Michael shows that this inheritance carries generational significance. Something that belonged to your lineage was fractured, scattered, or buried. A gift, a promise, a blessing, or a responsibility was delayed through circumstances that were never fully explained. But the spiritual realm never lost track of it. Heaven recorded every detail, every shift, every silence. And now, heaven is restoring what earth attempted to disrupt. The letter coming toward you is the first confirmation of that restoration. It is symbolic of a spiritual transaction that has already taken place. You are about to receive in the natural what heaven already reclaimed in the spirit. The identity of the sender plays a crucial role in this unfolding. Michael says that the shock you feel when you discover who they are will not come from fear. It will come from clarity. Their involvement answers questions you did not even know you were asking. Their silence explains seasons of confusion. Their message uncovers motives that were hidden under layers of circumstance. This person has carried knowledge that influenced your destiny without your awareness. Their message will explain relationships that shifted suddenly, opportunities that dissolved unexpectedly, or patterns in your life that felt unexplainably heavy. And when they finally step forward, the revelation will be undeniable. Michael warns that the closer this message gets, the more your spirit may feel stretched. It is natural. You are expanding to hold the weight of the truth. You may feel moments of internal pressure, as though something inside you is preparing to break open. You may sense old emotions rising, not to torment you, but to release you. You may feel waves of anticipation, confusion, or sudden clarity. These are the signs of spiritual positioning. Heaven is aligning your inner world so the revelation does not overwhelm you. It equips you. There is a reason Michael emphasizes timing. For years, heaven protected you from receiving this truth prematurely. Had it come earlier, it might have wounded you more than it would have helped you. It might have misdirected your steps. It might have empowered the wrong people. But now you are spiritually seasoned. You are emotionally grounded. You are awakened enough to receive what once would have crushed you. Heaven waited for you to become this version of yourself, strong, intuitive, discerning, ready. Michael reveals another layer. The inheritance tied to this message is not just about what you will receive, but about who you will become after receiving it. Truth is transformative. Revelation activates dormant parts of your identity. Once this message reaches you, you will step into a deeper awareness of your role in heaven's design. You will walk differently. You will speak differently. You will trust differently. You will discern differently. Something in you will elevate, because truth always lifts the spirit into a higher form of alignment. Heaven is preparing you not only for what will be revealed, but for the ripple effect it will create. This message will bring clarity, but clarity will bring decisions. Decisions will bring change, and change will bring breakthrough. Your destiny is accelerating, and this letter is the catalyst. Michael shows an image of a spiritual gate opening, one that has been locked for a long time. The moment the truth enters your hands, this gate will swing open, releasing blessings, opportunities, and spiritual authority that have been waiting behind it. Your future will not unfold the way your past did. This is a separation point, a divine divide between what was and what will be. The urges you now, remain attentive, remain steady, remain open. The revelation is approaching faster than you realize, and what comes next will reveal why heaven used the phrase 3 hours left, not as a threat, but as a countdown to restoration. Before you move into the next unfolding, hold your heart still for a moment. What is coming will redefine your understanding of destiny. Type "I receive the unlocking of my destiny" in the comments if your spirit is aligned with this message. Blessing code 5588 is now released. Beloved vessel of light, as the spiritual countdown grows sharper, Archangel Michael steps forward with a force that signals the revelation is now on the brink of breaking through. He says the inheritance message is no longer approaching. It is arriving. The energy around you is shifting in real time. You may feel a tightening in your spirit, a pull in your awareness, or a quiet intensity that makes everything around you feel different. This is not imagination. This is not coincidence. This is the atmosphere of a long-awaited truth finally crossing the threshold of your life. Michael reveals that what is coming toward you is so significant that even the spiritual realm has gone silent in preparation for it. He speaks of something profound. The moment before revelation is always the heaviest. This is because your spirit is adjusting to a reality it has not yet processed. He says you may have recently felt emotional waves without reason. Sudden heaviness, sudden alertness, sudden clarity. You may have noticed synchronicities increasing, dreams becoming vivid, or your intuition nudging you more urgently. These are spiritual contractions. The truth is crowning. The letter carrying your inheritance is about to expose something heaven has been preparing you to understand, something that has shaped your life quietly, subtly, and powerfully. Michael reveals that the sender of this message is tied to a part of your story you did not expect to revisit. They carry knowledge, influence, or responsibility that directly intersects with your destiny. For a long time, they remained silent, perhaps out of fear, confusion, or denial. They may have believed the truth was too heavy, too complex, or too dangerous to release. But heaven had been tightening the pressure on their conscience. What they once ignored now weighs on them. What they once hid now burns within them. And what they once believed they could carry alone now demands release. They are being pushed by divine urgency, not personal will, to step out of the shadows and reveal what was never supposed to stay hidden. Michael says you must prepare for the emotional impact. This revelation will not only inform you, it will transform you. When you read or hear what they reveal, a piece of your past will suddenly click into place. Questions you asked yourself for years will gain answers. Strange patterns in your life will gain meaning. Relationships that felt confusing will begin to make sense. He says this moment is not about shock for the sake of shock. It is about illumination. Heaven is returning authority to where it belongs. Heaven is restoring alignment. Heaven is handing you the keys to your own story. He describes a spiritual vault around you, one that has remained locked because too many unanswered questions clouded your perception of your identity. This message is the key. Once you receive it, the vault opens, and the clarity that pours out will wash over your entire timeline. You will see your past differently. You will interpret your experiences differently. You will view yourself differently. This inheritance is not merely material. It is perspective, power, and purpose being restored to you all at once. Michael urges you to remain grounded. The revelation may feel intense because it will touch parts of your heart you did not know were still tender. It may reopen old memories, not to wound you but to heal you. It may bring tears, not of sadness but of release. He says heaven has been preparing the emotional structure of your heart for this moment, strengthening places that once would have cracked under the weight of truth. But now, your spirit is resilient. Your soul is fortified. You are ready. He warns that right before destiny appears, distractions attempt to steal your focus. You may experience sudden noise, unexpected arguments, emotional fatigue, or random chaos around you. These are the final attempts of interference. But Michael stands guard, clearing the path so the message reaches you unhindered. He says nothing can block what heaven has sealed. Nothing can stop what hath been written in your divine record. Nothing can silence what heaven is commanding to be spoken. The inheritance message brings more than revelation. It brings activation. Once you understand the truth, you will step into a new level of spiritual authority. Your decisions will sharpen. Your relationships will shift. Your path will clear. You will no longer move from confusion, but from clarity. You will no longer operate from wounding, but from wisdom. You will no longer question your worth, because the revelation will show you just how divinely chosen you have always been. This is why heaven has been urging you not to overlook anything in this season. A notification, a letter, a message, a conversation, anything could be the vessel through which this truth arrives. Remain attentive. Remain expectant. Because the revelation is not coming later, it is coming now. And once you receive it, the next chapter of your destiny will begin to write itself. Before you move forward, help amplify this message so it reaches every soul who needs this divine alignment. Like this message, comment to increase its reach, share it with those you love, and subscribe to stay connected to every spiritual revelation released in the seasons ahead. Type "I open my heart to the truth" in the comments if your spirit is aligned with this revelation. Blessing Code 2299 has now been released. As Archangel Michael prepares to place truth back into your hands, this mission stands in a sacred moment. The message you are hearing is not just for you. It is for countless souls who are searching, waiting, and aching for the voice of heaven. When you support this work, you become a vessel that carries light to those who are walking through spiritual darkness. Every seed you sow becomes a river releasing clarity into someone's storm. I feel led to say this from my spirit: your support is not an action. It is obedience to a divine nudge. The theme of inheritance echoes here, because when you pour into God's work, heaven pours back into you with multiplied grace. Use Super Thanks membership with a PayPal link in the description to activate your prophetic seed. Do it boldly, for heaven honors those who step forward in faith. Beloved bearer of divine truth, as the spiritual air thickens around you, Archangel Michael steps forward with a solemnity that signals the revelation is now in its final descent toward your life. Peace, as the inheritance message that had been circling your destiny like a silent storm is now lowering itself into your reality. This is the moment heaven has been preparing you for since long before you even knew a message existed. There are seasons in your life where change approaches gradually, quietly, gently. But this is not one of those seasons. This is a season of sudden unveiling, sudden clarity, sudden reversal, and sudden alignment. The truth is not creeping toward you. It is descending with divine force. Michael reveals that the letter, the message, the unexpected communication that will soon reach you carries not only information but spiritual justice. Something with withheld, something with delayed, something with misdirected, something with governed, and something with auto. This inheritance, whether material, relational, spiritual, or generational, was never meant to slip from your grasp. But someone, knowingly or unknowingly, stepped into the flow of your destiny and created a blockage that heaven has now decided must be removed. You have been living with the spiritual symptoms of this interruption: confusion that made no sense, struggles that felt disproportionate, delays that seemed unreasonable. These signs were clues that something in your story was incomplete. And now, Archangel Michael says the completion is approaching. He reveals that heaven waited until now to release this truth because the maturity of your spirit needed to match the magnitude of the revelation. If this had reached you earlier, your emotions might have clouded your discernment. You might have responded out of pain instead of understanding. You might have let the wrong people influence your interpretation. You might have been vulnerable to manipulation or interference. But now, your spirit is grounded. Your intuition is sharpened. Your emotional walls are strengthened. You are ready not only to receive the truth, but to govern it. Michael shows a vision of your life as a tapestry with one section missing, a blank space that has lingered for years. You sensed it, even if you could not name it. You felt the emptiness as a quiet ache, as a subtle restlessness, as a lingering question mark that followed you through different stages of your life. That blank space is the truth carried by the sender. And when the message arrives, that space will finally be filled. The tapestry of your identity will complete its pattern, revealing a picture that hath been forming behind the scenes since your earliest days. The identity of the sender continues to carry immense weight in this unfolding. Michael says the reason this person will shock you is not because they are harmful, but because their connection to your destiny has been hidden beneath layers of silence, misunderstanding, or timing. They hold a truth that explains why certain relationships faded, why certain paths closed, why certain doors refused to open. Their message is not merely communication. It is the unlocking of a chapter you did not have access to before. And once that chapter is revealed, the rest of your story will finally make sense. Michael urges you not to fear the revelation. He says truth is rarely comfortable, but it is always liberating. What had been withheld did not disappear. It was preserved. Heaven shielded what belonged to you so that when it returned intact. Think of this inheritance as a seed buried beneath layers of earth, waiting for the right season to burst into the open. You have reached that season. The soil of your life has softened. The light of awareness has risen. And now the seed must break open. Heaven has been preparing your emotions for this moment. That is why certain memories resurfaced recently, why certain emotions felt sharper than usual, why certain people came into your mind unexpectedly. Your heart has been cleansing itself to make room for the truth. Michael shows that this emotional cleansing was necessary. Without it, the revelation might have sat on top of unresolved pain. But now, your heart has space to receive without distortion. There is a transformative weight on this inheritance. Once you receive the message, your decisions will change because your understanding will change. There are choices you did not make in the past because you lack the clarity that this message is bringing. There are connections you avoided because you did not know the truth behind them. There are opportunities you hesitated to pursue because a hidden piece of your identity was missing. The inheritance message fills that missing piece. When it arrives, the confusion dissolves, the hesitation disappears, and the path ahead becomes unmistakably clear. Michael warns that some emotional turbulence may appear right before the revelation reaches you. Not because something is wrong, but because your spirit is expanding. Old versions of yourself are shedding. Old perceptions are fading. Old limitations are breaking. This internal stretching can feel like anxiety or anticipation, but it is simply your heart preparing for a truth that is larger than anything you have carried before. Heaven is steadying you for this shift, the same way a parent places a hand on a child's shoulder before revealing something life-changing. You are not walking into this revelation alone. Michael stands beside you, sword drawn, presence unwavering. He says no manipulation, no lie, no confusion, and no spiritual interference will distort what is coming. This truth is sealed by heaven. This inheritance has your name carved into it, and nothing can remove what heaven has written. Prepare your heart. The next stage will bring the unveiling of why heaven moved so urgently, why the countdown mattered, and why this inheritance could not be delayed any longer. Type "I am ready for my divine restoration" in the comments if this is speaking to your spirit. Lesson code 4488 has now been released. Beloved one, as the spiritual temperature around your destiny rises, Archangel Michael steps forward with a depth of certainty that announces that truth is now standing at your door. He says the inheritance message that have been hovering in the unseen realm has crossed its point of no return. Nothing can pull it back now. Nothing can mute it. And nothing can redirect it. You are entering a moment where heaven's timing, heaven's justice, and heaven's revelation converge into one unstoppable movement. This moment has been prepared across years, across chapters, across seasons of your life where you carried questions without answers and burdens without explanation. Now the revelation that has been circling your spirit is ready to land. Michael reveals that your life has been shaped by truths you were never told. Choices were made around you. Decisions were withheld from you. Realities were altered before they reached you. People stood at intersections of your destiny carrying information that could have changed the course of your understanding, yet they remained silent. Sometimes by fear, sometimes by confusion, sometimes by intention. Heaven has watched all of it. And now, the time of silence has expired. The truth must be released. He shows that this message is not merely exposing what happened, it is reclaiming what was lost. Somewhere in your timeline, a fracture occurred. Something was diverted, whether through human decision or spiritual interference. Something belonging to you was placed in a shadow. You lived with the effects of that shadow without ever knowing its source. You felt certain moments of abandonment, confusion, or limitation, yet you could not trace their origins. But Michael says the message coming toward you is the bridge between your lived experience and the hidden truth that shaped it. This inheritance is not only material, it is the restoration of your story. Heaven had been preparing the sender as well. Michael reveals that this person wrestled with the weight of what they knew. There were countless moments they felt compelled to speak, yet something within them, fear, uncertainty, unresolved guilt, held them back. They tried to continue as if the truth carried no consequences, but the spiritual realm refused to allow their silence to remain. Heaven began tightening the pressure around their soul, nudging them, awakening them, exposing their resistance until their only choice was obedience. And now, they are reaching out, not because they want to, but because heaven requires it. Your spirit may already sense their nearness. In the past days or weeks, you may have felt sudden waves of intuition, unexpected thoughts of certain people, or a strange awareness that something around you was shifting. You may have felt a tug in your heart without knowing why. These were not random emotions. They were indicators that the truth was drawing closer. Michael says your soul recognized the vibration of this revelation before your mind could understand it. Heaven wants you to know that the inheritance you are receiving is not a reward. It is a restoration. You are not being given something new. You are being returned something ancient. Something that was meant to shape your life from the beginning. Something that was tied to your birthright, your lineage, your calling, and your spiritual authority. You were meant to walk with clarity, not confusion. You were meant to move with confidence, not hesitation. You were meant to stand in truth, not shadows. And heaven refuses to allow you to continue carrying what never belonged to you. Michael reveals that the arrival of this inheritance message will break cycles in your life. Cycles of uncertainty will end. Cycles of delay will dissolve. Cycles of emotional burden will release. This is because truth not only informs, it transforms. When you receive this message, your perception of yourself will expand. You will see your past through a new lens. You will interpret your relationships differently. You will understand why certain doors closed and why certain people distanced themselves. The revelation will be like a key turning inside a lock that has been sealed for years. But Archangel Michael offers a gentle warning. Truth requires readiness. Heaven did not withhold this message out of cruelty. It withheld it out of protection. If this had come earlier, your heart might not have known how to process it. Your spirit might not have been mature enough to carry it. Your emotions might have drowned in its weight. But now, heaven calls you ready. Joy, anger, aware. This is why the countdown was announced. This is why Michael spoke urgently. This is why you have been feeling the shift long before the message arrives. Heaven is aligning everything around you to support this revelation. Even the disruptions in your life recently, the unexpected pauses, the sudden stillness, the strange emotions, were divine recalibrations. Heaven was clearing space inside you so the truth could land without resistance. You are not the same person you were years ago. You are not even the same person you were months ago. Your spirit has matured into someone who can hold truth without breaking. Michael shows an image of you standing at a spiritual threshold. On one side is the version of you shaped by incomplete information. On the other is the version shaped by truth. When the message arrives, you will step through that threshold, whether you intend to or not. The truth will elevate you. It will clarify you. It will set you apart. It will ignite you. Nothing about your inner world will remain the same. You are moments away from understanding why heaven intervened, why Michael was dispatched, and why this inheritance holds more significance than you ever imagined. Hold your breath, beloved soul. The revelation is not coming. It is here. Type "I am ready for my full awakening" in the comments if this resonates in your spirit. Blessing code 3311 has now been released. Beloved bearer of revelation, as the final layers of this divine unfolding draw near, Archangel Michael steps toward you with a presence so steady, so intentional, that even the atmosphere around your spirit begins to still. He says you are standing in the final moments before the truth breaks open. The inheritance message, the one heaven has been preparing you to receive, is now pressing into your reality like a rising tide that cannot be pushed back. Every breath you take in this moment is charged with spiritual electricity because something long denied, long delayed, long distorted is about to enter your life with undeniable clarity. Michael declares that this is not merely the arrival of truth, it is the dismantling of every shadow that has lived in your story. He reveals that your spirit had been sensing this climax for quite some time. You may not have been able to articulate it, but somewhere within you, there has been a silent awareness that a shift, an enormous one, was coming. The strange heaviness, the emotional fluctuations, the sudden moments of insight, the restlessness that felt unexplainable, the awareness of old memories rising from nowhere. These were not emotional coincidences. They were spiritual contractions. Heaven has been preparing your inner world for the impact of truth. What is coming is not small. It is not subtle. It is not gentle. It is a revelation with the power to rearrange the architecture of your understanding. Michael says the inheritance message you are about to receive holds more than factual information. It holds keys. Keys that unlock generational secrets. Keys that clarify hidden motives. Keys that open doors you did not know were closed. Keys that return to you the authority that was quietly taken from you. You have walked portions of your life with missing context, missing answers, missing pieces of your identity. But heaven is done allowing you to navigate your destiny with only fragments. Now the full picture must be revealed. Heaven has been watching closely as the sender wrestled with this truth. Michael describes their inner turmoil as a tug-of-war between fear and obedience, between silence and responsibility, between hiding and surrendering. They have carried information that shaped your life without your knowledge. They have carried truths that influenced your relationships, your opportunities, your decisions. And now, heaven has placed them under a divine mandate: release the truth. Their timing is not based on courage. It is based on divine pressure. Something has been stirring in them that they can no longer ignore. Their conscience is no longer numb. Their spirit is no longer still. The revelation is forcing itself forward through them. Michael reveals that when this message arrives, you may feel your world tilt for a moment. Not because the truth is meant to destabilize you, but because it is meant to awaken you. There will be a brief moment where your mind tries to reconcile what you knew with what is being revealed. But then, clarity will wash over you like a tide. You will feel your heart settle into alignment. You will sense your identity strengthening. And you will realize that what is being revealed is not foreign. It is something your spirit always suspected, something your intuition whispered about, something your dreams hinted at. Heaven is not giving you something unfamiliar. Heaven is confirming something deep within you that has been waiting for validation. The inheritance carried within this revelation reaches into several layers of your life. Some of it is connected to relationships, why certain people acted the way they did, why certain bonds fractured, why certain encounters felt strangely significant. Some of it is connected to identity, who you truly are in your lineage, what you were meant to inherit, what responsibilities you were supposed to carry, what gifts were always yours. Some of it is connected to destiny, opportunities that were delayed because the truth had not yet surfaced, missions that could not begin until the full picture was restored to you. Michael explains that this message will also expose the forces that attempted to keep you in confusion. That is why certain doors closed abruptly. That is why certain opportunities vanished. That is why certain seasons felt suffocating. The spiritual interference surrounding your inheritance was real, but heaven did not allow it to win. Your spirit kept rising. Your discernment kept sharpening. Your calling kept pulling you forward. Michael says heaven watched you endure what you did not understand with grace, strength, and resilience. And now, heaven is honoring that endurance with revelation. There is a moment coming, very soon, when everything will make sense at once. The unanswered questions, the unresolved feelings, the lingering uncertainties will align themselves into a structure of clarity. This is the kind of revelation that shifts destinies. It realigns timelines. It restores stolen blessings. It breaks generational silence. It returns spiritual authority. You will not walk out of this the same way you walked into it. You are ascending into a truer version of yourself, one that has always existed but was muted by lack of truth. Michael urges you to steady your heart. Do not fear the revelation. You were built for this moment. You are ready for this truth. He says heaven chose the timing carefully because truth arrives when the heart is strong enough to embrace it and the mind is clear enough to interpret it. You are in that place now. This is why everything in your life recently has felt like preparation. Heaven has positioned you at the edge of breakthrough, and there is no turning back. What you are about to receive will not only reveal your past, it will unlock your future. The next unfolding will carry you into the divine climax of this prophetic warning. Michael is standing in full readiness, sword drawn, waiting for the revelation to complete its descent. Hold your breath, beloved soul. The truth is inches from your reality. Type "I embrace the fullness of my destiny" in the comments if you feel this anchoring in your spirit. Blessing code 1199 is now activated. Beloved child of divine order, the moment has finally arrived. Archangel Michael moves before you now with a presence so radiant, so undeniable, that even the unseen realm trembles in acknowledgement. He says the inheritance message that had been approach you like a distant echo has now stepped fully into your timeline. There is no more waiting, no more anticipation, no more speculation. You are standing at the threshold of revelation, and heaven has prepared this moment with meticulous precision. Michael declares that the truth carried toward you has reached its appointed hour, and nothing, not fear, not doubt, not spiritual resistance, not human interference, can delay what is unfolding. He reveals that the weight of this revelation is not simply in what it tells you, but in what it frees you from. For years, you carried questions you could not name, burdens you could not trace, emotions you could not fully understand. You lived within a story missing its most critical chapter. But heaven has refused to let you build your future on incomplete truth. This inheritance message is not just information, it is liberation. It is the release of a burden your spirit was never meant to carry. It is the softening of wounds you did not know were still open. It is the restoration of identity that was dimmed by silence. Michael shows that the sender, the one whose identity will shock you, has now stepped into full obedience. Their silence, long protected by fear or confusion, has finally collapsed under the weight of divine pressure. Heaven has cornered their resistance. Heaven has stirred their conscience. Heaven has awakened their responsibility. Whether they wanted to bring this truth forward or not, whether they feel ready or not, whether they understand the impact or not, their role in your destiny is now active. They have delivered the message, or they are moments from doing so, because heaven is not accepting delays anymore. The truth is arriving. And when you encounter it, Michael warns, your heart may tremble, but not from fear. It will tremble from recognition. Deep within your spirit, you always sensed that something larger was unfolding behind your life's events. Something hidden, something infinite, something with meaning that had not yet revealed itself. This inheritance message is the unveiling of that meaning. You will feel a jolt of clarity, a rush of understanding, a settling of questions that have lingered for years. Suddenly, moments from your past will take on new color. Decisions you made will gain new context. The paths you walked, whether painful or triumphant, will make sense in ways you never imagined. Michael reveals that this revelation is more than a message. It is a spiritual unlocking. It will break delays that clung to your life. It will release blessings that were restrained by lack of clarity. It will open doors that refused to move because heaven was waiting for truth to come first. He says your destiny was never stalled. It was waiting. Waiting for this moment. Waiting for this truth. Waiting for you to see yourself with the full awareness of who you truly are and what was always meant for you. Heaven wants you to understand something vital. This inheritance is not coming to you as compensation. It is coming as confirmation. Confirmation that you are chosen. Confirmation that your calling is marked. Confirmation that heaven had been watching your journey far more closely than you realized. You endured seasons that should have broken you, yet they shaped you instead. You walked through emotional storms, yet you kept moving. You carried wounds silently, yet you continued to rise. Heaven has seen all of it, and this revelation is heaven's acknowledgement of your resilience. Michael says the next hours, the next days, will bring signs. Conversations may surface. Messages may arrive. Documents may appear. Unexpected communication may break through. Something will reveal itself, and your spirit will immediately recognize its connection to this prophetic moment. You will not need to force anything. You will not need to search anxiously. What is meant for you is already in motion. Truth is coming directly to your hands, guided by Michael himself. This final unveiling will alter how you see your future. You will walk forward with clearer purpose, stronger conviction, deeper wisdom, and renewed courage. The uncertainty that once clouded your decisions will dissolve. The heaviness that sat on your chest will lift. The doubt that whispered in your mind will fall silent. Michael says that when truth arrives, fear loses its authority. Confusion loses its power. Shadows lose their hold. You will stand taller because you will stand knowing. Heaven is calling you into a new identity, one anchored in truth, not fragments. One aligned with destiny, not delay. One awakened, not waiting. This is your transition point. The message is your bridge. Your life will not continue as it was. You are stepping into restoration, alignment, and divine inheritance. Before you receive what is coming, still yourself for a moment. Let your spirit breathe. You are not entering this revelation alone. Michael walks with you. Heaven surrounds you. Your destiny opens before you. Type "I receive my divine inheritance" in the comments if your spirit is ready. Blessing code 7777 is now released. Now, beloved heart, lift your spirit to hear this final support message, flowing seamlessly from the theme of inheritance and revelation. as the truth of your inheritance rises into your life, this mission too stands in a sacred moment. Heaven is using this very platform to awaken destinies, restore identities, and release revelation into hearts around the world. When you support this work, you are not giving to a channel. You are sowing into the movement that delivers breakthrough where silence once lived. I feel led to speak this in the first person. I am calling forth those whom God has chosen to stand with this mission, to help carry light into places still touched by shadows. Just as this message has poured into you, your support becomes the river that carries hope to others awaiting their own restoration. The theme of inheritance is not accidental. When you sow into God's work, heaven opens its treasury over your life. Use super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description to step into this divine alignment. Do it boldly, for heaven rewards those who move when God speaks.